Okay. The first thing I wanted to show you guys on Snap&Read is this quick little overview, because it talks about all of the different tools in the menu bar, and it's like a 3-minute description.
Hi everybody, today I would like to teach you about Snap&Read. Snap&Read is an extension that can be used to assist all of our students be successful in reading and writing. Snap&Read has a bunch of functions. The first is it will read text aloud. All you do is click on the icon that looks like speaker, and the computer will read the words aloud and highlight each word as they go. Another amazing feature of Snap&Read is the dynamic text leveling. If you select part of the text that would be difficult to read, or even select the entire article and click this button right here, it will take all words that would be difficult for your students and put them into words that they will understand, and it's also put into italics. Snap&Read has a translation software as well if you have students who need words to be translated. Another great feature of Snap&Read is that it can make outlines for you, and you can use it as a study guide, for example, just select the text you would like, and it will be added to an outline on the right-hand side of the student's screen. Amazing is the remove distractions feature by clicking on the extension on the website and then clicking remove distractions. All of the pieces of the side of the website that are too busy will be removed, and you will have just text left. This is also something that you can save an article and put it up on Google Classroom with all the distractions removed. Using Snap&Read, you could also have a cover overlay and reading line guides to help students really keep track of the place they are when they are reading. Another great feature is a dictionary that also has pictures, so really helps us with students who might even have trouble understanding what the dictionary is telling you. I love that if you are taking notes on a website in your outline would be on this tab. It's automatically citing sources for your students under the Sources tab. Sometimes when we have a text reader, it only reads the words that are in the article, but Snap&Read has a snapshot screen reader, and if you highlight any words on the page, it is able to read it aloud to students. That will include things on a PDF
or an image.
It can tell you what the readability level is for any website as well. If you're logged in and have your students listed under you, you can have data collection on what they're reading and at what level they are reading. And another fantastic feature would be PDF annotation, and then they can save the PDF right into their Google Drive. Luckily, Snap&Read works on almost anything that your students will be working on.
All right, so that was just a quick little overview of everything that it can do. And so now I want to get in and actually try out all of those tools so that you can see how easy they are to use with your students. So let me go on real quick. And so you'll see once I send these slides to you, I went through each individual tool, and if I had a quick little video or an example of how to use that tool, it'll be highlighted with a hyperlink to it. Okay. And then I also included screenshots of what each tool is. So when we see all these little icons and we forget how to get to the translation piece or which one is the screenshot reader. So I did include those in these slides for you to go back and reference later. But I also wanted to remind you that we do have the EISD Canvas course, the EISD Tech Talk. Let me get to it real quick so I can show you. And all of these resources are in that course. I think people get nervous about joining the course because they think it's going to be assignments and quizzes and discussion boards, and the EISD Tech Talk has 0 assignments. I don't want you to have to send me anything. I'm not going to ask you any questions. I won't even know you're in there. It's just a place where I'm dumping all of our resources. So I'm going to show you where to find that. If it'll let me sign in. Okay, so from your class link page, if you'll just go to our Canvas icon, it should automatically sign you in. And you can search for our course, or I can even invite you to it if you need it, if you can't find it. So you'll this is our home page here. And then down at the bottom, I tried to get the most broad sections for you to go to. So for Snap&Read or anything that is like a digital program, Lexia, Dreambox, any of those resources, Eduphoria, you would just click on the EISD Digital Resources page. And then you're going to see, once they load, all of the programs that we have here. And we'll click on Snap&Read, or Co-Writer is right next to it. Well, Snap&Read. You'll have access to video tutorials. I have a tutorial there for if you wanted to use Snap&Read inside of Eduphoria for online testing, and then the little quick guides here that you could download to your Google Drive if you needed to. The Don Johnston Incorporated, their website, that's the maker of Snap&Read and Co-Writer, and their website is awesome. It's got amazing resources there for you if you're just now getting started using their tools, and their videos are like 3 minutes long. So they know to keep them short and sweet. But anyway, that is the Canvas course. So tell your friends, it's not a scary place to go. You don't have anything due.
So
no due dates.
on Canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's where and it's got, most of the programs have at least some type of resource available there for you, but we're going to continue building that throughout the year. I think I just lost my connection. I was casting to it and it didn't want to cast anymore.
What did you put in the search box to get to all the different technology resources?
Oh, in the Canvas course?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the EISD Digital Resources.
Digital resources, okay.
Yeah. From that homepage. Anyway, that's just there for you to reference later on throughout the year. But let's go ahead and start using Snap&Read. So Snap&Read has been pushed out to every Google account in NSISD. Staff members, students, everybody has access to it. And you may not even have seen it yet, but it's an extension. So if you will look up in your Chrome browser, it'll be grayed out, and it should probably have a red dot on it. It looks like a little target. It looks very similar to one of the other extensions. I think it's this one that maybe everybody tries to click on, the WebEx extension. Hover over it, it'll say Snap&Read Universal. And your students, it looks exactly the same for your students also. All of the menu bars, all of the icons, everything that you see is exactly what the students see too. So that makes it nice whenever you're trying to teach your kids how to use it. So all you have to do is click once on the extension, and you click sign in because your account has already been created for you with your NSISD Google account. And you'll click sign in with Google. And it should ask you, if you've signed in on your device with multiple Google accounts, it'll ask you which one. So you're going to choose your NSISD. And it doesn't look like it did anything, right?
Yeah.
Everything just went away. But it actually enabled the extension. If you'll notice now that your extension is now blue, and mine has a number next to it, and that is because I have the readability level. Oh, sorry. I have the readability option enabled in my menu, and I'll show you how to do that. So that 7 right there is saying that this website, it has a readability level of about a 7th grade reading level. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So our Canvas course is very easy to understand. Okay, But if you click on the extension, now you're going to have your menu bar pop up, and you'll see that the Snap&Read, it looks like it has a power button on the left-hand side. On the right side, it's now blue. And if we click it, it turns gray, and that means you have disabled it. But you didn't have to actually sign out. So all you would have to do when you want to use it is go back up and click it again. So you want to make sure if your students are needing to use Snap&Read that they have the blue bar and not the gray bar once they signed in. And this is where you're going to find your outlines. They didn't talk about it in that quick little video, but not only can you build an outline, you can also choose a template. So like if you've got a teacher that's using, or if you as a teacher are using Cornell Notes or teaching your students how to use Cornell Notes, there's actually a template that the students can follow, and it'll load a Cornell Notes template over to the side and even tell them step by step how to correctly use that type of note taking skill. This is also where you find the remove distractions, and we'll look at that in just a minute. You can open a PDF from Snap&Read, but let's look at options right now. So on options, there's several things that are defaulted, and I'll have to look to see what I've added and what is defaulted on for you guys. But you can choose your text color or the background, the highlight background color whenever it's reading the text, whatever color you want it to highlight the text that it is on. You can choose the voice, who you want to read to you. So, sometimes I want an Australian man to read to me, and so you can go and change it. Now, the voice options do change dependent on what type of device you're on, because they use the voices that are automatically loaded, like Google, Mac. Let's see, let me find a good one. The German one's fine too. Just the Australian since it's stuck. Or actually, I'll do it.
Welcome to the Snap&Read extension. This voice requires an internet connection.
And it'll tell you if they need to be online, if they, it'll have the online in the parentheses. What did I find?
Welcome to the Snap&Read extension. Device requirant internet connection.
Okay, and she's reading in French or speaking in French because I have my translate option on. So let's switch back to Michael real quick.
Welcome to the Snap&Read extension. This voice requires an internet connection.
Your students can also, we can change our volume, how loud we want it to read. We can change the speed at which it reads. So if you have a student who is a struggling reader, you may want to slow the speed down just a little bit. You can also change the pitch that they hear whenever they're reading. Same thing for the simplify words. You can choose to leave it at default or where you want it, how much you want it to simplify. Okay, then over on the right-hand side is where you see the show reading level in icon. If I turn that off, then I have seen that 7 on the extension icon on the Canvas course. So that's just telling you what reading level it's at. Screenshot reader. When we talk about screenshot reader, I'll go a little bit deeper into this. I have mine turned on for auto speak. And that just means as soon as I take a screenshot, once it loads in the program, it starts reading right away. Whereas if I had that turned off, I could take the screenshot and then once it loaded, I would have to actually click for it to start reading. But I like to have that on. I leave the load PDFs and Snap&Read disabled. You can enable it if you want to, but it's kind of finicky, just like Google Read Write was. If it's not something you need to have read aloud, or you need to simplify or translate, I wouldn't open it in Snap&Read PDF. So I like to have that option. And then I did turn on the dictionary, double click for the definition. That way all you would have to do if there's a word you're not understanding, you double click on that word and that picture dictionary is going to pop up for you. Your translate into should be, by default, it should be disabled. I want you to go ahead and enable it. And when you do that, by enable it, I mean just slide it to where it's blue. And you can pick what you want to translate the text into. So I chose Spanish just to show you how this would be very beneficial for some of our ESL students or even our parents when we're sending a letter home or whatever, that you have a translation piece right here for you. You don't have to take it to someone to translate anything that you would want to send home, you can do right here. They have 150 languages you can translate to. Chiquise is not one of them, so I know that doesn't help you out very much. But there's Spanish, French, German, Czech, I mean, anything else you can think of, it's there. And so I just put mine to Spanish.
Arabic?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is like one of my students he's learning Arabic. His mother's from Jerusalem. So he was trying to teach me a couple words. I was like, okay, I'll have to listen to you a lot closer next time.
And obviously I'm not a native Spanish speaker, so I don't know how accurate it is, but they do use Google Translate as their provider or whatever. So as accurate as Google Translate is, that's how Snap&Read is going to be. So I'm sure it'll have some issues, but not enough to not get the content across. What's funny is you can also change the like if I'm translating the text into Spanish, I can then change the voice into a native Spanish speaking voice to where it has the dialect with it, you know, how they would actually sound. And it doesn't sound like me trying to speak in Spanish. And this is also where you can add the cover overlay. You can change the color. You just click on that color. You can change the reading line guide. So this is the one. If you have the cover overlay, it's going to highlight the whole paragraph, and then the reading line guide obviously just goes line by line to help, draw their attention to that one space. Okay, so now let's actually play. And I'm going to use all of these tools using my favorite part of Snap&Read, and that's the remove distractions piece. The reason I think this is my favorite is because I go back to my 3rd grade teacher years, and all of the times that we were trying to find articles or websites or just passages to use to teach for STAR or back in tax, and you would get this workbook that would have all these great articles, but they may have one unit that covers a newspaper article out of the whole book. And so then the rest of the time you're scrambling trying to find articles to show them or to use for text features or whatever. Well, you can't really just have a student go to WFAA and look on there, especially in the 3rd grade, because there's no telling, especially right now, what they're going to see on WFAA. So just as an example, let me go. I really need to pick a different website because theirs is so busy. And they've got videos that start playing randomly, and so there's always noise. Let me make sure. Okay, so let's say I wanted to do a current events article. This one seems pretty safe. Chip and Joanna Gaines to open a hotel in downtown Waco. So I'm going to click on it. Mine's going a little bit slow. And once it loads, you're going to notice over to the right of my computer screen, I now have, this is all that they have for the Snap&Read tools. They automatically load there for you once you have that extension enabled. So it's not something that takes up half the page. You don't have to click on it every time you want to use a new tool. They're all right there on the right side of the page.
Of the mass shootings, Magnolia announced they're making a donation to the victims and their families.
Okay. Just when you thought it would be safe, that's exactly what would happen.
Right.
Is now you've already put that out there for all of your kids to see. So one of the cool things you can do now is you click on, I'm telling you, they have the worst pop-ups. Okay. I would click on that extension again, and all I have to do is click once on remove distractions. And I now have just the article that I want my students to read. Now, I would not have each of your students go to WFAA and click on the article and click remove distractions, because by then you've either lost them and they're clicking everywhere within WFAA and seeing who knows what. But as the teacher, you can download this the exact same article without the distractions, and you can push it out to them in Canvas or Google Classroom or whatever you would want to use to give them access. You can print it out if you needed to. Okay, so within this article, now that I've removed the distractions, let's go and play with some of these tools. So the first icon you see is the speak icon. That is if you just needed to read the text aloud to them. You're not translating, you're not lowering the vocabulary, you're just needing it to have oral accommodations here. So all you would need to do is click on the speaker. You'll notice that speaker icon now is like a turquoise color. And if I move over, there we go. My cursor now has that same icon attached to it. That's letting me know that I have chosen the Speak tool. So I come over to the article. Anywhere that I want to start reading, I click once.
Chip and Joanna Gaines to open hotel in downtown Waco. Author Nick Tarrant. Waco, Texas editor's note. The video in this story is from August 6, 2019.
To make it stop, I click once, and it stops reading. And it was hard to see, but it was highlighting the text as it was reading word by word, and I didn't have my overlay going up, because remember that tool is over here. Now, one thing with Read Write that I had heard in the past was, let's say you're starting a unit test, and you have your students that are working on with oral accommodations, and they push play for it to read it to them, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, everybody stop, everybody listen to me, and you have to give additional directions or something like that. When they went to push play, it started completely over, and they had to listen to everything all over again. So imagine how annoying that would have been for your students who may have already had a hard time focusing, and now they've got to listen to everything they just listened to before they could get back to where they were. In Snap and Read, anywhere that you left off, you can click and start right from that place. So let's say we were here.
Morning. The hotel is slated for a 2021 opening. What?
It doesn't completely start over. It's not like a stop play issue. It's wherever you click, that's where it's going to read. Okay, so that is the Speak tool. The one right below that, this is your screenshot reader. And it doesn't seem like you would really want to use a screenshot reader, but there are a few situations where it would come in handy. If you have a text that we don't want the whole article read, I just need you to read this one little paragraph. That's what we're focusing on right now. So instead of having to know exactly where to click to have that read, let me see if I didn't grab it. You click on the icon. Notice it gives you like your little crosshairs here. And we'll go and find, so let's say I just want to read the title. I press down and I drag all I want to read. And remember, I have mine on auto speak, so as soon as I let go and it loads the image, remember it's a screenshot, and I'm casting, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But as it's loading, you see a little circle spinning, and it automatically starts reading. And then it stops after that last word in your little screenshot. It won't go and read the rest of the article. If you turn the auto speak off, once it loads, then you would just click within the text and it would start reading whatever you click on. So you can take the screenshot off. This third icon is your text leveler or your simplify vocabulary tool. And in your settings, hold on, probably should have done that first. They just changed this today, that's why it looks different. This simplify words, you can decide how simple you need those words to be, what level those students are at, and how, like you can even use this to expand the vocabulary and make it higher level. Is that what it was? I seriously think they just changed that today, because it wasn't there yesterday. In that spot at least. I guess I lost my article too. Go back. There we go. Okay, so once I click Simplify Vocabulary, you'll notice now I've got some of my words are italicized here. Those are my words that they have simplified for me. And if you click on them, if I just hover over it, I didn't actually click, just hover, it will give you a definition or like other uses, or was it slated for was what it was, and now scheduled for is what it is now. So if I click again, hold on just a second. Yes, okay, so it's going to show you, once you click Simplify Vocabulary and it goes, and now it is in italics, when you hover over it, the first set of words is what the original text was, and then the next set is the simplified version. So instead of slated for, it changed it to scheduled for. So it'll help with understanding. Take that off. This is my favorite piece. The next icon is the translate. If you don't see the translate icon there, it's because if you're in your options in your menu bar, you didn't click a language for it to translate into, then that icon doesn't even show up. So if you've got your students who don't need a translation piece, they don't even see that icon as something to click on unless they go in and add another language for it to translate into. But since we added one, if I click this icon and I come over into my article and I just highlight, you can highlight the whole article or you can just highlight a paragraph or a single word, whatever you need to translate, and then let go. You'll see now that this first paragraph is in Spanish. And not only did it translate it, if I go up and hit the speak icon again and then click,
Magnolia ha anunciado un plan para traer un
it'll
nuevo
read
hotel
in the
al
language
centro
I
de
asked for it to
Waco
translate
en
into.
asociación con Adventuros Jóvenes Capital Partners, según un comunicado el jueves por la mañana. El hotel está...
Okay, so I can turn that speak button off. And then I want to show you one other thing. If you notice, whenever I hit that simplify vocabulary icon, the first time I clicked or the first time I clicked the simplify vocabulary, it italicized and it lowered the academic vocabulary. If I clicked it again, now it's not going to do it. Hold on. I swear it changed it to Spanish earlier. Well, it's not wanting to play nice, just kidding. Okay, so that's the translate button. This, what are we on, fourth, third, fifth? 1, 2, 3, 4. But the fifth one is the cover overlay. So that is, all they would have to do is click on that icon, and then anywhere that they hover over in the text, it will use the cover overlay with the sentence highlighter. And then if you have the cover overlay icon selected and you do the speak tool, sorry, and then I click,
The hotel is unnamed at the moment, but it is planned to be
it'll
hosted
still
in the
highlight word by
historic
word
Grand
as it's
Shrine
reading it
building
to
at
them, but it'll leave that
701
cover
Washington
overlay over the
Avenue,
whole
just a
paragraph.
few blocks away from Magnolia Market at the Silos. Home is a feeling created by and for the...
Okay, turn that off. And then this last one is, it says capture text, but if you push this little arrow down at the bottom, and I was worried about pushing it at first because I thought normally when we see this little arrow that's pointing out, I think it's going to log me out of it. That's not what this arrow is. This is the outline. And so when you push that arrow, that's where you have the option to start building an outline or to cite your text, however you want to do it. So if you want a new outline, you would just click that plus sign. If I want to use a template, I would click the 3 dots, just like you do in Google, and I would add an outline template. So let's say we're going to do beginning, middle, end for well, I guess I need a nonfiction. Or we'll do cause and effect. So it gives me a template here, and it also, not only does it just like space it out for me the way it should be or format it for me, it kind of gives me an idea of what I need to put in that area, in those bullets. So nonfiction, cause and effect, that is going to be where I'm going to put my title. So if I come over here to the article and I grab this title and drag it over, I may have to erase that first. See, I try to do something new today that I didn't do on Tuesday, and now it's not going to play right. Okay, now let me try. There. No? Okay, I'm not going to use a template because when I don't use a template, it works for me. All right, so let's say I want to do my title. It looks like it still doesn't want to do it. Y'all, do you love whenever you have this great plan in your head and then it doesn't want to play right? I promise it can come over here. That is crazy. Okay, I'll play with that and I'll show you how to do it.
Sources?
You shouldn't have to, because that's just where you're going to put where it's going to cite it, but maybe it's because I'm not on this tool. Let's try this one. There it goes. Okay, I forgot that step. This bottom icon is the capture text. So you don't just highlight it and drag it like we're used to doing. You have to click the tool, capture text tool. Then I came in here and I highlighted it. You can't really see it on there, but on my screen it's highlighted, and then I drag it over and it went. So let's say I want to do this. Actually, I didn't have to drag it. As soon as I highlight it on my article, it'll push it over to where I want it. So that could be why it wasn't working on that outline. Let me go back to it. There we go. Grab my capture text. So you would want to click where you want your title to go in the template, or it's going to put wherever you have your cursor in your template is where it's going to automatically dump that text. So you want to make sure they're clicked here where like the title would go. Grab your text. I'm sure it keeps grabbing it because I have it highlighted already. Yeah. And so it'll grab it there for you. But notice here at the bottom in parentheses, it's already citing it for you. The website and the correct citing. That's pretty cool. I think most of you work with lower grade levels, so I don't know how much you would use that tool, but it's there. I think 6th grade this year, in their new TEKS, it is citing sources now. It's not even just one, isn't it? Like up to 3 or something like that. They have to learn already in 6th grade how to cite sources. So it's a great tool to start, slowly showing them, or at least explaining why we do that, so that they're ready for it. Okay, and then I would not want my template open or my outline open the whole time. I would want it out of my way as I'm reading the text, so you can push that arrow and it pushes it back over. But it doesn't do anything with it. It's still there. So as you're wanting to add to your outline, you can open it back up. Now you can also, once they're finished, they can download it, they can print it, or they can add it. Once they download it, they could then put it into their Google Drive and send it to you through Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever it is you might be using. And unless they delete their outlines, they'll always stay right here for them. Close that. Okay, and then once you've removed the distractions, if you decide you wanted it to go back to the original version, all you would do is click on that extension again and click Show Original, and it'll take you right back to the way it was before. Now, you don't have to remove the distractions for you to be able to use all of these tools. If I wanted to go straight from here and click the speak icon, and I lost volume.
The hotel is unnamed at the moment, but it is planned to be hoisted in the historic Ram Shrine building.
So it'll read right from the website, it'll read off of PDFs, it'll read images, and it will read articles. Like if you went in and removed the distractions, if you translate it, if you lower the vocabulary, it still reads whatever is on that screen for them to look at. So, what do we think so far? Pretty easy? You literally just click sign in with Google, and you have access to all of it. And like I said, most of our students and most of us are just going to use that first icon, the speak button. And we might use the leveler, where we simplify the vocabulary. So once they know those two tools, you now have provided oral accommodation to all of your students that need it. So that is Snap and Read in a nutshell. But I want to show you real quick Co-Writer. Did they get to Co-Writer in the Palooza sessions?
They did, but it wasn't real thorough.
Okay. Since y'all, most of you, I think all of you are elementary and intermediate, right? There's no, okay. And you're kinder or pre-K?
Pre-K.
Oh, okay. You're really going to like this then, because it does really well with inventive spelling. So let me stop casting, and I'm going to use the desktop because this is going too slow for me. All right, so just like Snap&Read, Co-Writer should be pushed out as an extension to all Google accounts. We have run across some teachers who, when they logged in on their desktop, even if they are logged into the Chrome browser, so they see their little profile here, it wasn't showing up as an extension. If you run into that on your desktop, all you have to do is go to the web store and type in Co-Writer, and it'll let you download. And you still have an account that's already created, but for some reason, some of them aren't showing up. So you get to Co-Writer exactly the same way you do Snap&Read. So they click on, it looks like a little speech bubble. You click sign in with Google account. And again, it's going to look like nothing changed once this goes away. But you'll see now that it has it's changed colors, it's blue, and that little red dot has gone away. That means it's ready to be used. If you click on it again, it looks just exactly the same as Snap&Read. Here's where you would go and find your options. Now, you won't have all of these topics here. The cool thing about Co-Writer is that if your students are working on a particular story for the week or something in science that they need that academic vocabulary, they can go in and search for a topic. And I showed on Tuesday, I showed one on like cell biology. If I search for that topic and I added it to my list of topics, when I go in and try to start writing, so let's say, let me do it in the Google Doc. On this desktop, it does not load the same as on mine. Okay. So with Co-Writer, you don't have the little menu bar over to the side. What you'll notice, though, is that this little box will pop up anytime you're in a document that you're going to start typing in. Now, I want to warn you, if your student goes in and has either used Co-Writer and they forgot to disable it when they were done using it, or they just accidentally enabled it thinking it was Snap&Read, this can be the most annoying extension ever. Because anytime they try to log into Lexia or ClassLink or Dreambox, it's going to think they want them to use predictive text, and you're going to hear it reading the words they're trying to type or the numbers, and it's going to drive you crazy.
We've had this happen, and I had no idea what it was,
yeah.
And so I just watched their computer.
Yeah, it's corrupted.
No,
yes.
no.
And so that's one thing to look for. If their Chromebook is talking to them and you don't know where the talking is coming from, look and see if that extension is blue. That's what it is. Co-Writer is trying to predict what they want to type. Okay? Or if you see this box here. When you click on Co-Writer, or when you have it enabled for the first time, it defaults to the type icon, and that is sort of like the speak icon in Snap&Read. As soon as I start typing, it's going to start immediately predicting what it is I'm trying to say. So let's say I'm trying to say thank you.
Thank you.
As I hover over the words, it reads them.
Thanks.
And that was one thing that I thought was pretty awesome, because when he first started showing, I was like, okay, he was saying how great it would be for kinder. And it's like, well, but if they can't read those words, that doesn't really help them. And he's like, oh, no, wait. And so he showed us how if you just hover over the word, it reads it to them.
Thinking.
And even cooler than that, to select the word, they can either click on it, or they can click the corresponding number. So notice I'm not clicking on the mouse. If I click number 1,
thank you,
it's going to add in thank you for me. Then it's going to go, okay, well, I think the next word you're probably going to say is for. That's the most common. Thank you for, so we'll finish number 1.
Your.
What I want to say is coming.
Coming. Coming up.
I must have it all.
To
the
United
States. There we go. You can use
United States. United States.
Okay, and then if I arrow over and put my period,
thank you for coming to the United States.
It rereads the whole sentence for me. Now you'll also notice, see the same icon as we had in Snap&Read for the translation tool? That is because I turned on the translation piece inside of Co-Writer in my options.
Translate writing from Spanish into English.
The cool thing about this is if they choose that native language and maybe they know a word in Spanish, but they don't know the English word for it, they can start, if they know how to spell it, they could type out the word in Spanish and it will correct it for them and give them the English version of that word. If they don't know how to type it and they only know what the word is and they can speak it, if you click on this microphone, I don't have a microphone here on this desktop, they would just click on the microphone and it's going to say speak now, and if they say the word, as long as they have it, they want to put it from English or Spanish to English, speak the word and it's going to write it, even if they say it in Spanish, it's going to write it in English for them. I mean, you have to speak it pretty clearly or it won't pick it up, but I thought that was pretty awesome. Okay, and this is another way that they can manage their topics.
Global warming. Albert Einstein.
And like I said,
Global warming.
if you have it on, it's going to read everything that they try to hover over because it's trying to help them. So let's say I don't need cell biology, but I'm teaching kinder and I want, for their writing for the day, I want them to use Halloween vocabulary. We're going to write about Halloween. So I'm going to enable that topic, go back to my pencil, which is my type, and say let's see, kindergarten, I can't. You'll see that it didn't pop up that. Oh, I think I have it in English.
Translate writing from Spanish into English.
Last time it popped up.
Can't.
I'm trying to think of some of the ones that I put in. I can't wait.
Want.
Okay, so this was what I was looking at. Notice wait wasn't my first one that popped up here because I just put WT because I don't know how to spell the word wait as a kindergartner. But I can come in here. I can't.
Want.
Well, that doesn't make sense. And I can't
watch.
I can't wait.
To get.
For.
Or
actually, let me change that.
To tell.
Go.
See. Go to. Go.
Trick.
TRK. Or.
See, and this one doesn't want to do it for me either, I swear. Did I have it all together? There it goes. Okay, so let's say as a kindergartner, I'm using my inventive spelling or my phonetic spelling, and I'm trying to type trick or treating. I put TRKOR, so I'm thinking trick or, you'll see the first word it picks up is trick or treating. That is because I have that Halloween vocabulary or that Halloween topic turned on. So it's scanning for those Halloween terms, thinking that's what you're looking for. But then it will also give you some other non-topic related, thinking maybe you're going off task. Okay, so let me turn that Halloween off. And it will also, once they start using co-writer, it'll start using some of their frequently used words. So even if they don't have a specific topic vocabulary selected, if they have used certain words like the name of their dog, and they start typing the name of their dog, but they still don't know how to spell it, that will be one of their options. Because just like on your phone, your frequently used words, it shows up in that predictive text for you. That's going to show up there too. So it kind of uses the same type of technology for that. Okay, so let me go back and click on my options. Oh, this is something really cool too. You can create topics based off of any site that you're on or any PDF that you're looking at. If you sent a Google assignment to your students and it was a worksheet on, I'm trying to think of something y'all do. The example they showed earlier was William Shakespeare. When you think about the language they would use whenever they're talking about William Shakespeare, it would create topics from the page that you're showing on the screen, and when they use that predictive text, those types of words are going to show up, that type of vocabulary. And then you can also just select a certain piece of text and create a topic library from that. But let's look at our options. I have my prediction language, obviously, for English, and I have it to predict all words. But you can also change that to where it's not every word that they type is going to have the box. It's going to be those separate, the core words, or I'm not sure why you would use this if you didn't want any words predicted, but that is an option. You can predict from the page that it's on. Flexible spelling is what they mean by that is that inventive spelling or that phonetic spelling. So I have that turned on. And then here's the translate piece again. So you would want their native language, translate writing into English from whatever their native language was or is. Okay, it defaults to 5 guesses, and they're talking about that box that pops up. I don't know that I would want 9 options to choose from when I'm trying to predict the next word. But you can also lower it. I mean, you could have it as few as 3 words to where it really narrows down what's popping up on their screen. You can change the font, you can change the font size, so it could even be for one of your students who maybe they can spell just fine, but they need the font to show up larger even on their little predictive text. You can change the text color, the background color. Again, you can change the voice. Whoever you want to read to you, that's where you would change here. Now, this can also get very annoying really quickly. I could see pre-K kinder, you may want to keep speak letters enabled. But it will literally, instead of reading the word for you, it's going to read every letter you type. So I have turned that off, and I have it speak words. If you don't even want it to speak individual words, you can turn that or disable that and have it only speak the sentence when they're done writing. And then again, you can change the volume, the speed, and the pitch of the voice that's reading to you. I just thought about something. I did not show y'all the topic dictionary, the picture dictionary earlier. So I'm going to show y'all that real quick. And I know we didn't spend a lot of time on CoWriter. I'm not as familiar with CoWriter. I haven't used it as much as I have played with Snap&Read, but I think you get the gist of how it could be used. When they first told us that we got CoWriter with Snap&Read, I was like, I don't even know that we're going to use that. But when they started showing us how like your ESL students or your bilingual students can speak a word in their native language and it will write it for them in English, I thought, well, there you go. Now I know how we would use it. So it doesn't even have to just be your lower level students that can't write out the text. I'm thinking my dyslexic child who is in 4th grade getting ready for a writing test, how awesome is it for him that he can sit here and speak what he wants. He knows exactly what he wants to say, but if he had to sit and type out every single word, for one, he's never had typing, so he doesn't know where the keys are on the keyboard. It would take him forever. I say that, he'd probably be fine. But he can sit here and speak exactly what he wants to say, and it's going to type it for him.
So whenever they speak it, it'll actually just put
It'll,
the word on
Yep, and I can show you on this one. I just don't have the mic on. I don't think it has a mic. And of course, today I didn't bring.
For like the little bitty ones, you know, they've got a writing component they need to do, but yeah.
Yeah, especially beginning of the year. Maybe towards the end of the year they'll get a lot quicker, but definitely. Okay, so let me show you real quick. Let me enable mine here. Sorry, it always has a little delay whenever I switch to cast. Okay, so I'm on just a regular Google Doc. Remember, it defaults to the type tool, but I want to switch it over to speak to text. Okay, so now that I have, of course, my Snap&Read. You can have Snap&Read and CoWriter both enabled at the same time, by the way. You don't really need to use them both at the same time because CoWriter will read it for you too, but if for some reason you wanted to. Okay. So I have it set to just English right now, but if I was a good Spanish speaker, I could have my Spanish, what's a Spanish word that I can say? Baño, in that bathroom? I don't want to put anything vulgar. Okay, so let's say, I'm going to say bathroom. I'm going to say it in Spanish. So I click the microphone. It says speak now. Baño. Well.
What?
Yeah, not perfect. And maybe it's the way I use it. Maybe if I knew how to speak it in a sentence, it may say bathroom. I did.
What about like tortuga? Tortuga.
I couldn't even
I
get
know what it means.
rojo the other day.
Well, I can't roll my R's at all, but my students were teaching me.
Okay, so we'll click the microphone.
Tortuga.
Hold on, I clicked it again and made it too fast.
Tortuga. Turtle.
So you see, it doesn't even put it in the Spanish first. It just automatically translates it to English for them. Okay? And so they just have to remember to switch it over because it's going to default to English, which is the EN right here on the left-hand side. And if they have a language chosen for translate from, it will be on this side. The ES to EN is Spanish to English. So if they were just writing in English, and I wanted to say, thank you for coming today. Now, one thing to note, notice I had to click the microphone again for it to stop. If you only click it and it says speak now, until you click it again, it's going to type everything you say.
Oh my God.
So if they click it and then they start talking to their friend, well, you've got record of everything they're talking to their friend about, but it's not going to be what they wanted to type. So they do have to remember that. And once they see what they want to type up on their screen, then they can click that microphone again and turn it off. Okay? And then just get back to type there. All right, let me show you real quick. Turn off co-writer, and I want to show you before I send you out, and before we do our drawing, I want to show you the picture dictionary in Snap&Read. Okay, and I have mine set to double click. Oh, it's not going to work in, okay, it does not work in Google Docs as a double click because Google itself, if you double click in Google, it does something. They have that set as like a keyboard shortcut. And so it does work if we're on, close everything I had. Let me see if I've got a PDF real quick. I hate opening those. Okay, let's do it this way. So notice if I double click in here, it's not working. But if I go to my article, okay, so let's say I double click on locating, a box pops up and it's going to give me not only the definition, but also some, it's not color dictionary or color pictures, but little icons that help me understand what that word means. And all I had to do was double click. I didn't have to highlight a tool and drag it over or anything. And that's because in my menu and my options, I chose dictionary, double click for definition. So let's see, are there any other ones? Don't go to those. Assistance. So anywhere they click, and if you click that little down arrow, it's going to give you a few more options that may make more sense. You know, those multiple meaning words that they have trouble with, it'll give them additional options there too. You could also click this speaker button, because remember those students that needed the lower vocabulary or a definition of a word, they could click inside the definition and it'll read it to them. So literally every tool that they offer has the speak option for it. So that one was pretty cool. I'm going to get off of WFA before it starts playing videos. Okay, and let me put this back up while we do our drawing. I do have the shortened link here, but I will also go off of the sign-in sheet and just share it directly to you so you don't have to worry about copying that link down or scanning the QR code. But we had a donation for a $25 Starbucks gift card. So we're going to do a door prize. And I completely forgot to show y'all the coolness of reading using the phone. Okay, before we do that, you have something to wait for, I promise. $5. Okay, there is an iOS app. We're looking at Android. If you have a kid that has an Android phone, and I couldn't find it on their device. It's not saying it's not there, but I'm not as familiar with those. But just on a regular iPad, phone, anything you can download an app to, it's just Snap&Read in the App Store. And then up at the top, you see the exact same icons that you see on your toolbar on the computer, except that it has a camera now too. If I click on the camera, it looks just like the camera on my phone. But I can find anything that I need read to me that maybe I don't have on a Chromebook or I don't have a Chromebook with me. So let's say I want to read this page. All I did was take a picture, and I'm going to click Use Photo. So it pops up in the screen again. Now I can click the speaker button. Now, before it'll start reading it to you, it's going to ask you to translate it or to move it to OCR. You want to OCR it, and that's just making it like a text, a readable document. So you click yes, and then it loads. I have my speaker off too. Okay, so now I have OCR'd it, and if I click within that image, it's been the day of nothing working. Okay, well, let me do the screenshot reader then. I'll show you this. You can do the translate tool also. So even though it's on this picture of this workbook, if I click the translate tool, it doesn't show, obviously it doesn't change the picture to a Spanish version, but it will give them a new document that's now in Spanish. I can click the speaker here. I have my volume up. So it's now reading me this workbook page in Spanish. Parents. Take the translate tool off. Let me try again now that I have my volume up.
Matt.
There it goes. I have my volume on.
Matt.
So it doesn't highlight the text for you because it's an image, but it is reading it to me.
Some hard problems. Sarah, smiling to herself, thanks. Matt, that makes me feel so good. She looks up and...
So it's not perfect. I mean, it's going to read everything in parentheses. It's going to read just straight across the image. But think about like your students that spend, 30 minutes on the bus after school to get home, but they have a library book in their backpack. They can't read it on their own, and they don't want to ask the person next to them to read it to them because then the person next to them knows they can't read it. Now, if they have a phone with them and they have some earbuds, they can take a picture of anything they want to do. If it's a homework page, if it's a textbook, anything, take a picture of it, put their earbuds in, push the speak button, and it's going to read it to them. So I thought that was a pretty cool option, especially since I didn't have to, I don't know if any of you used Snap&Read last year where you had to send it through Snap for unit tests to have it where Google ReadWrite would read it. You created the unit test, you saved it as a PDF, then you had to send it through another app called Snap&Read, which I'm guessing OCR'd it, changed it to a readable text, and then you had to put it back into Google ReadWrite, and then it would read it. This, you don't have to go anywhere else other than that image. You don't have to change it. I could take a picture of a newspaper article sitting here and send it out as an assignment. A menu. So I was thinking that too. If you go to a menu and you're not sure to a restaurant and you don't know what the menu says, it's in language for the restaurant, you can take a picture of it and you have it read to you. You can translate it to English. Going grocery shopping. They can have it set to translate. If there's something they can't read there, they can take a picture of it and it'll read it for them.
So they go to the app first, the Snap&Read app?
Yes.
And then it has a place.
It has a little camera icon.
Take a picture.
So click that, and then it's the exact same icons as their menu bar in Chrome. You have your speak, and it's in the same order too, so that makes it nice. Speak, lower the vocabulary, translate. That text button is what's going to OCR it. And then they have their option menu too. There is one thing, I keep adding one more thing. This one is really cool though. If you have students that are assigned to you or that you want to keep track of to see if they're actually using this tool, let's see if I can pull it up here. They can actually connect to you. And you then, once they are connected to you, then you have the option to track them and see, for one, how many times are they lowering the vocabulary to be able to understand the text? What reading level are they working on to comprehend the text. How many times did they have to use the translation tool to be able to understand what the text was? If I go to, what's my name? There it is. Okay, so you'll see all I did was I went to the extension and I clicked on my account, which is where my name was, and it says I want to manage students or I want to view reports. The first time you're going to click manage students, I don't know exactly what it looks like on your end because I don't have any students rostered to me. You may have the option of seeing your students already, but you can quickly add your students by their email address. If you use Google Classroom, you could click import from Google Classroom and it'll bring over any student you have in a Google Classroom. Or you can import the CSV file, but that's kind of hard. So for me, let me go back. I believe my children are on here. They're my guinea pigs for everything. If I click view reports, yeah, there we go. Brady hasn't really read 500 or had 538 words read to him. I've just used his account for online testing and everything else. So it will show me how many words he's read, how long he has spent reading within Snap&Read. And then as they start using more of the tools, it'll give you more reports that you could pull. But you could simply add their email. You know, for those that don't have classes rostered to you or don't have a Google Classroom, you can just add them to monitor them as their email address. Or like if you wanted to add your own kids to see if they're using the tool at all, you just add their email address and it'll pop up. So that's pretty cool. Now another way they can join, okay, do I not have, I think it was on the actual page. Let me sign out and sign back in. When they sign in, they should have the option that says connect with educator, and it has like a little plus sign. If they click that, there's a code somewhere in your Snap&Read account that's going to give them the option. I think I haven't. Is it there? There it is. Okay. So when they're inside their menu for Snap&Read and CoWriter, if you click Connect with Educator, it's going to ask you for an activation code. And as the teacher, inside your account, whether you want to do CoWriter, Snap&Read, or both, if you give them that activation code, you don't have to type in their email address anymore. It'll just automatically, it'll automatically add them so that you can view their reports.
So you just make up your own code, you said?
I want to say it is in your account, but I haven't looked because I haven't needed it.
I clicked on it and it says connect with educator, activation code, 8 characters.
Right. Well, that's if you wanted, like if you wanted your account to be connected to another educator where they can view your reports, it's letting you connect your personal account to an educator. So you wouldn't want to do that. But I don't, Chad, do you know where, is it under profile? No?
For?
If like this, if they wanted to give their students their activation code to let them connect to them?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
You don't need to install it. I'll have to find that because to me that would be, I don't know. I don't know which one would be easier for younger students. If it's easier to give them just a code and they automatically connect, or easier for us just to enter their email address and automatically connect to them.
Let me dig around and see what I can find.
Yeah, I just. Trying to see. I don't see it anywhere. I'll find it. I don't want to y'all to have to find it. I'll figure out where it's at. I'll let you know. Okay, I think we went over every single tool for Snap&Read and CoWriter. I'm sure that was kind of overwhelming to see everything that it can do. I hope that you feel like it's something that's easy to implement with your students and that you can start tomorrow if you wanted to, have them go in and log into a Chromebook. As long as they're signed in as themselves in Chrome, it's going to pop up as an extension for them in the Chrome browser. And they'll just click sign in and get started. All right, we ready to draw? Anybody feel like they need caffeine right now? Okay. And no one left early. Tuesday we had some people leave early, so I let them decide if they wanted to do must be present to win or not. There's No one left. Let's see. Dina Rendon. You have won the $25 Starbucks gift card. So everyone follow Dina to Starbucks. Right about now.